Okay, so good morning everyone. Let's start the class now. So I'm going to share my screen. So today I have like a plan to discuss couple of framework stuffs, like what are the things we need in a framework, and we'll do the practical for all those. So on high level note, I am going to discuss this 6 topic, okay? And I hope the time one, we were doing the Excel one, so we'll continue doing that Excels, reading, writing, updating other stuffs. Then we'll see how we can achieve the keyword driven, okay, automation. We'll do the practical for this. Then we are going to see how we can achieve the data driven automation. Then we'll see the reporting part, that is the extent report we will be using. It will be showing you very nice report with the minimum coding and minimum effort. You can see very nice report. So you can implement this in your team also. Then we are going to see the logger. Apart from reporting something, we do that logging of the stuffs, whatever is happening in our application, like line by line, it will do the login. So later if some error comes, you can easily go and check it, what are the issues. One more thing we can see here, the screenshot part, I think we have not discussed in Selenium. So there are 2 different ways to do the screenshot, one through Java, one through Selenium. We'll try both. And after that we have a Docker. So if time permit, we'll discuss on Docker also. So whatever Selenium Grid we have done in local system, we will try to do in Docker. Okay. So this is what the today's syllabus. So anyone has any question on this one?
Nitin, I have one question.
Yeah.
So the apart from Excel, what you are going to teach us today, is it going to be based upon the same the class file we created today? The reason I'm asking is because my Excel file code is not working at all. But if this is independent than that, maybe you can take a look at my code, after the class, maybe 5-10 minutes. I know there is only one step which I'm missing, but I just couldn't figure it out.
So in Excel, like you had some this license issue in your system?
Yes. So yesterday what we created, that Excel read file, and before that we did 2-3, we copied a dependency and then we copied a path. I don't know what I did wrong, but that code is not working for me at all. And I was waiting for the recording, and I thought maybe I'll just go through the recording and come up with a solution, but I just couldn't. If the other things are not dependent on that file, we can just move ahead and you can take a look at it after the class, so that we can save that time for other things.
Okay, sure. So Excel is, I think, definitely due to the license issue. So that definitely will check it after offline. Okay. So apart from Excel, like this keyword driven and data driven is related on Excel, but I'll show you the alternate way to do that now without Excel also. Okay. So this everyone can learn this as well. So their Excel is not required, and rest all other things we don't need Excel. Okay. So only the first part you will have, like, you can write the code, but you will not able to run it. So if you can see that in other system it's running, right? So you'll get the concept and you write it the code and you understand it. Okay. In your system, whenever this license issue will get fixed, it will work. Got it?
No, there is no license issue. I made some mistakes in the code. My Excel license is up and running.
Oh, so we'll try some fresh code and I think it should work in your system.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes, sure, definitely.
Hey, one more question is are we continuing from yesterday's BDD and cucumber stuff?
No, that I'm ignoring because that is like some cucumber latest issue. On the latest jar, it's the issue. I tried with the older one also, but it's still showing it. Okay, so you can just try it to fix that issue. Like if it is fixing, then whatever we have code we have done right, you have to follow the same approach to perform on that BDD. Okay.
Okay.
So that we are ignoring as of now because that has taken a lot of time. Okay. And after that, you just practices on that one BDD. If you have any issue, we'll discuss on Slack. Okay. And whenever this issue got fixed in any of the version, I will update on the Slack also. Okay. So as of now, that's a very weird issue and it's like open issue. I saw many people is facing that. Earlier with the older version, it used to work, but I don't know why that error is coming. So we'll try to fix. As soon as it got fixed, I will update everyone. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have in our, in the schedule is SOAP and REST also, right? API testing. So is this going to be happening in the class?
No, SOAP and REST is going to take a lot of time, so that we are ignoring as of now. Okay, we are focusing on Selenium and Java related framework only. Okay, so that we are ignoring SOAP and REST. Okay. So for that, if you want more details, I'll share some tutorial link. You can just check it. Okay. Okay. Any other question from this one? Okay. If no, then we'll continue the code. Okay. So SOAP and REST is like, it's very simple. I will maybe at the end I will try, if the time permit, I'll show that. Okay. REST framework. It's like same thing. You have to write the Java code only. Okay. Not SOAP, but REST is the most popular one that we'll check. So for this, we have to use one framework called REST assured. Okay. Okay. So let's continue this now. So first we will go to this Excel we were trying, right? Read Excel. So everyone is able to run this code or no? Read Excel. This is the code. Okay. And what this code was doing, like it was trying to read the this where we had, it's reading this test case, right? Test case.xls. This is the file that is reading it. Okay. So in Excel file, if you have any null value, then it was failing, right? So to fix that issue, I am checking the null details here. So I'm saying if the cell type is blank, okay, or I'm saying if cell type is not blank, then only go and read the data. So this will resolve the issues. Okay. So let me show that what I'm trying to say. So if I go to downloads and open this testcase.xls file. So this was the file, right? Here I have intentionally, I have added the space. So I told like there is solution for this. So if I have this, if I remove this space, right? So now this cell will become the blank cell. Okay. So in that case, our test case was failing. Now, if I remove this and save this file and run this code, right? It should work. So if I go run a Java application, okay, it's showing some error. We'll check where it is. Read Excel 26. Okay, so they are saying this cell type. So I can add here one more thing. Cell not equal to null, and okay, cell not equal to and cell not equal to blank. If both is true, then only go ahead and read. Okay, so this is how we add the AND operator. So where if this is true and this is true, right? Both is true, then only it's going to run it. So let's try to run this now. So you can see I'm able to read the data even if I have this blank space in our Excel. Okay, so this condition we have to add always whenever we wanted to read the data from the cells, because some of the cells might have the blank values, and in that case you will get the error like null pointer exception. Okay, so I just want everyone to just add this logic inside the for loop. Maybe this 4 line would be different in your system. You have to just change this. The rest of the code will be same. Or I can just post this also in this Slack group. So you can just copy paste from here. So this 4 line is different. Okay. So let me know if you're facing error in this one, reading one. Anyone has any questions till here?
So, Mrityunjay, the logic that
Yeah.
you have right now for the cell type blank, is it like a standard one? I can use it anywhere that I want the cell value to be, right?
Yes. So this condition is like the standard for checking the null value. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Mrityunjay,
Yeah.
we have to use the true and then. What is the meaning of true and then?
This one is saying double and this is called AND operator in Java. Okay. So AND operator means the condition from left side and right side, if both are true, then only this condition will work. Otherwise, it will not work. So we are saying the cell value should not be null and the data type or cell type should not be blank. If both are true, then only go and read the data. Otherwise, it's throwing the null pointer exception. And this cell will throw null pointer exception only if no data is there in Excel. Okay. So I am continuously talking about the exception. So that one more part I wanted to discuss in today's class, because going forward, whatever code I'll write today, that will have this exception thing. So I want everyone should understand this. Okay, exception. So first we'll discuss the exception and then we'll come to on this Excel part. Okay. So everyone has done with this code now? Rest of the code you don't need to copy, you already have it from yesterday. This code only I pasted in Slack. You can just copy paste and run it and check in case of blank value also it's working or not. Okay, so next class what I'm going to create is for
Just
learning
a quick
that.
question,
Yeah.
Mrityunjay. So if I wanted to read more things on this Apache POI and the associated methods that is available on this library, is there some URL or something like that where we can, just go
Yes.
through
So
and
yeah, one thing you can go for this Apache POI documentation. Okay. So for any library, this is how you have to do it. So we have to do this Apache POI and docs. Just if you type, it will show you this Apache POI doc and it will show everything what we are discussing. So it has a doc for all the versions like 3.7 currently I think we are using. So we can just go for this and you can see all the classes and package are here, right? So if you wanted to see this one, what we are using here, that is called workbook, right? So if I just go and search here the workbook, it will show the yes. Okay, where is the workbook? Let's search. We need the workbook class. Yes, here you can see the workbook, right? So if I just go and open, it will show what are the fields are available there and what are the methods are available there. Okay, so here you can see methods, all the methods from the workbook is there. One of the method that we are using here from the workbook class is get number of sheets, right? So here it will show that method. Get this, get number of sheets, and it will show the description also. What is the use of this? Get number of spreadsheets in the workbook. So it will just return the number. It's showing it is return the int, and this will the value. So in case of Java, this is the process to read any of the framework, or you can say this jar file. Go to their documentation and you will get everything. Okay, but in this case you don't need to learn everything, because this one Apache POI itself will, if you start learning, it will take more than 6 months and you will not be over with all the method and classes. Okay, so we have to only learn what is like be used frequently. Okay, so here whatever code we have wrote, right, this is for reading the workbook. I'll show one code for writing, I'll show one code for updating. So mostly as part of automation, we will do 3 steps with the this worksheet, right, or Excel sheet. So in that case, those code would be enough. So if you wanted to know more on the workbook, because this class we are using, then this is the place to get that. Okay, and one more way to get this, just simple in the Eclipse itself, it will show the help. So I'll say workbook dot, it will show all the method. On the right side, it will show the description also, right? Like You can see first method itself, the add picture. So if we wanted to add the picture in our worksheet, we can use this method, right? And whatever option or operation we are performing on Excel sheet manually, everything can be done through the Java coding. And these are the methods that will help us to do. Got it, Shashank?
Yeah, this makes sense. And then if I wanted to understand more on the cell type blank, where that is coming from, is that also?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's very simple. You have to just type this cell dot, right? You see what are the things we can check in the blank, boolean, error, formula, numeric string. Okay, so this cell can have total 6 things. Either it could be blank, it could have the boolean data, that is true, false. It could have some error. Error, you know, right? In Excel sheet, sometimes we write the formula. So if formula we wrote wrong, it will show the error. Okay, so if you wanted to check the type of cell, if it is error, then we have to check this whether it's error or not, right? I hope you are aware of this error one also. This is a good question. Like suppose in Excel sheet, what are the data we can store? First, we can store the number. Second, we can store the string, that is any name. Third, I think they're talking about boolean, true, false. Yes, that's correct. Next thing, what we can store it. Suppose I'm writing the formula where I can say A1 divided by A3. I think that is wrong thing. Okay, this is still correct. I'll say A1 divided by X. So you can see it's showing the error, right? Name. So this field has error type data. So that's why in the cell they are saying cell dot error. Okay. If formula is correct, we can get the formula from there. Numeric and string already we saw. And one more is blank, if nothing we are writing. So before reading the data, we have to know the type of the cells. So based, if you know the type of the cells, based on that, we have the method also to read the data. Like here if you see, we are trying to read the string value, but suppose in this cells if we have integer value, we have to use the different method, otherwise it will fail and throw the error. So how we'll know in the cell what kind of data we have it? So this is the method that will help, that will do cell dot. Okay, and these all whatever things you are saying, cell type, blank, and this boolean, this is called constant variable. It's a constant, a static variable available in the class, that is the cell class. Got it?
Okay, so the cell class is associated with the POI.
Exactly. So cell class, if you see how it came, if I go on top, it is imported from the POI, right? org.apache.poi.ss user model. Getting?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, any other question?
Quick question, Nitin. I thought if there is no value in the cell, it is null. And you said it is blank. So what would be the difference between blank and null?
Okay, that's a good question. So in Excel sheet, if you go right, sometime what happened here, let me create the difference here. So null means this cell has no data, okay? But I think blank means we have to create something. We will try to differentiate with the coding. I think blank means maybe it has some space or some other character like new line, okay? So that will call as a blank, okay? So that's how it, null means there is no data. We have not touched the cell. Like suppose we have a data in cell like this, right? So if I just go and expand till here, so we have a data cell 1 to 20. Suppose someone accidentally trying to access the row number 28, okay? So this will show the as null, okay? But sometimes what happen, we write something in the cell and then we delete it, okay? In that case, we have used this cell, okay? So once you use the cell, it will no more null, it might be blank, okay?
Okay.
So in those terms, you use these two things, okay? If completely unused cell will call the null. If used and deleted data, it come under blank, or if you have a space data, it will come under blank, okay? So this two you can just practice, changing the data there and verifying it here. Okay, good question. Any other question? Okay, if no, then we are going to learn one very important concept in Java, and that's called exception. Okay, what is exception and what is the use of that and what is the benefit of that? Okay, so that is one thing that is more beneficial in terms of like writing the code and logic. So we should be knowing the exception. So exception help us to control the flow of our program. Okay, in case of any errors or exception. Okay, generally we write if condition to control flow, right? But in case of exception, it helps us whenever some unexpected error comes, what do you want to do with that code? First, I'll give a example of exception. I'll create a class called exception demo. I want to run this class, so I will have a main method. Okay, so exception demo class got created. Now what I'm going to do it, I'm going to create a function here. Okay, so I hope everyone is clear with the function concept. So I'll create a function that is a static function, public static void. The function name I'll just give do some calculation. Okay, do some calculation. Now here what I'll do, I wanted to take the input from the user. Two number I want to take the input and I wanted to print the division of that number. Okay, so how we'll write this program? So everyone would be aware of the scanner class that help us to take the input from the user, and this is how we create the scanner class object, right? System.in. So now I have to import this. The scanner class comes from java.util package. Okay, so next we'll write here. Okay, I'm going to write the loop. We'll try to take the user input. So for what I'll do, I'll just print the message to the user. Enter two numbers for division operation, right? Okay. So how do we take the user input? We can create an integer variable and what we can say sc.nextInt, right? That will take the user input. Okay, next I wanted to take one more input. I'll say sc.nextInt once again, right? So that means it is this code is going to take two input from the user, one in x variable and another is y variable, right? I hope this code is not new to anyone, right? Or anyone has any question in this code? Okay, once we have done, what we'll do, we'll try to perform the division operation. For that, I'll create a z variable, or I can say result variable equal to x divided by y. So this is how we do the division, right? Mathematical division. Now, I'll just print the result. I'll say system.out.println, right? And I'll say here, this division of two number equal to result, right? This is the code. Now how we are going to call this function in main method? Anyone? I want to reply from anyone. How do we call this function in main function? Because main
Class
function
name
is,
dot function name.
yeah, class name dot function name. That's correct. Any other response? How we'll call this function? So when we have this function, two function in the same class, right? And if both function is static, we can call that function here without class name or without object name also. Okay, if both are static, if both are non-static, then also we can call like this. But if one is static, one is non-static, we have to create the object of the class. Got it? So here both method means main method is static, do some calculation method is static, so we can directly call this. Okay, so now if you run this, main function will run this function will run this all code and will get the response. So this is very simple code of Java that take two input from the user and print the division of the that two number. right? So once we call this function, after that I wanted to print some message, system.out.println. I'll say thank you for using my software. Okay, suppose this is the software that we created. Okay, so this is the simple code that we have wrote it. Now let's run it. Right, so I'll just go ahead and run Java application. It's giving the option enter two numbers for division operation. I'll type in number 12, second number is 4, and I got the division of two number is 3. Right, so far the program is working fine. We wrote the perfect code that do the division, and at the last you can see it's printing the message also. Thank you for using my software. Right, let's go ahead and run this code once again. Okay, this time I'm going to enter the number. First number is 12, second number I will enter 0. Okay, and see what happens. The program, what that first time it was working, second time it's not working, it's throwing the error, and it's saying java.lang.arithmetic exception divide by 0. Got it? And because the exception came in our code in the middle of the program, right? Our complete program did not get executed. The complete program is the last line by this, right? Thank you for using my software. That message we are not able to see. So this is the problem. Whenever the exception comes in our program, right? The program get terminated in middle only. If you have a big software also, the software will get crashed. This is called we say software got crashed. Okay, because the developer has not handled the exception properly. Okay, so whenever we know if some of our code might throw the exception, we have to handle that properly. So can someone tell which line is throwing the exception in our program?
19.
Line number 19. So division operation. So whenever we are trying to perform the division operation of any number with 0, right, that is not possible. So the Java is returning the exception, saying that arithmetic operation divide by 0. So whenever that means we are writing the code in the future, when you write the code, whenever you have this division operation, you try to handle that with try catch. Okay, so whenever some lines throw the exception, as a responsible developer, our job is to handle that. When I'm saying developer, it could be automation tester also, because as a developer or automation tester, you have to write the code, and both wrote similar amount of code. None of both wrote the similar amount of code, either it's automation or developer. Okay, automation tester or developer. So here in this case, you see we have exception throwing in the line number 19. Okay, so our job is to handle this. So in Java, if you wanted to handle the exception, you have to use the try catch block. So try block is nothing but it will tell you, or I suspect this line might throw the error. Okay, so I'll put this line in try block. Okay, and once this line throw the error, what to do? I'll put in the catch block. Okay, so in catch block, I'll say exception, or I'll say whatever exception it's throwing. So it's throwing the arithmetic operation exception. So I'll say this line might throw the arithmetic exception. Okay, go ahead and like catch it. Whenever this line throw the arithmetic exception, catch it here and just print some message to user. In this case, I can say the some message I can print it. Once I handle it, I'll say you cannot divide any number with 0, right? And this result, now it become local, so I'll just make it outside of try block, so it will not show the error here. I can initialize this with 0 also. Okay, so okay, this is here, and I'll put this message better inside this only, so we'll not have any problem. Okay, this is fine. Let it be this there only then. Remove it from here. Okay, so this is the code. What we have done. So in this case, we can see that our this code might throw the exception. So I have put that this code in try block, println also it's related to this, so I put in try block only. But basically exception comes from this x divided by y. Okay, and once exception comes, what happened? The program will get terminated here. Here on line number 21, but this catch block will handle it. So this will come here and it will run it. Okay, so once it will run, right, after that this function is getting called from main function. So the code block will come to the main and then they will execute the next line also. Okay, the program will not get terminated in the middle because we have handled this exception, and this is how we handle the exception. Okay, so here I can say exception handling. So now let's go ahead and run this. So it's asking the enter two number. I'll say 12 and 3 or 2. It's saying the division of two number equal to 3 equal to 6. And thank you for using my software. Right? Let's run it again with the negative data 12 and 0. And you can see saying you cannot divide any number with 0. Thank you for using my software. Okay. So you can see in this case our software did not get crashed in the middle. It's showing the proper message to the user and it's completing the code till end, right? So last line also got printed. So this is how we handle the exception. Any question from anyone from this code? You may not need to type this. I'll send this in the Slack group. Just try to understand the concept and let me know if you have any question.
Basically what we're trying to understand is if there is an error, or if it's not going to run, then the results are not going to come. That's why there's an exception, because we knew that line number 19, x divided by y, wasn't going to give us any results. So that was why there was an exception.
Yeah, x divided by y was throwing the error. So that error was getting, or exception was getting thrown from the Java side because they cannot divide any number by 0, right? So due to that, our program was crashing, right? So to handle that line, we have added the try block.
Okay.
So this is how we do the handling of try catch.
So every time.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Samyak.
Yeah.
Oh, so every time, when we find that there's an error, that there's not something that's going to throw an error, that's when we use the exception with the try and catch.
Exactly, correct.
So first of all, we need to find out what is throwing, what is the error, right?
Yes. In this case, we have to know in some of the case, the function itself will show that this I might throw the exception in future. So admin try catch. So we'll see the example of that also.
Okay.
For example.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, any other question?
Yeah, I have the same question. How about, like, we knew looking at the code, it might throw the arithmetic exception. How do you call, like, catch the generic exception if something is coming which would be unknown to you?
Yeah, in case of generic, we don't need to write the arithmetic, okay? So if you write just exception, it will handle any kind of exception. Okay. If we don't know the type of the exception, just write the exception. So exception is a parent class of all the exception that will handle all of their child. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. So we'll see one more example of this exception handling.
Sorry, before you move. So what was the last line that you said? Exception is the parent and it'll handle. Can you explain that?
Yes. So in Java, all the classes what we have it, right? That will be in the relation of parent child, right? In terms of inheritance. So each class will inherit their parent class. So in case of inheritance, right, the exception is the parent class of all the class. Getting? And how do we see that?
Exception is the parent class of all the
Yes.
class.
So yes. So earlier I wrote the arithmetic exception, right? If I just go ahead and click on this, okay, it will show that this arithmetic exception is the child of runtime exception. Okay. So if I go to this runtime exception, we'll see the runtime exception is the child of exception. Okay, so the exception is the topmost class we have it. Okay, so all other exception will be child of exception only. So either we write the specific exception, or if you wanted to go for generic, just we have to write here the exception. So this will handle all.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
Okay, any other question? Okay, so next we'll see one more type of like exception where it will by default it will show the error. Okay, so there basically if you go in detail, we have two types of exception, one checked, one unchecked. Okay, so checked exception will show at writing of code only, at time of writing the code only, that I might throw the error later. So how they do that, I'll show here. So suppose I'm going to write a code, public static void, I'll say I'll create a function like that read a text file. Okay, so if you know how to read the text file, you can read any other file, like you can read the CSV file, you can read the property file, any other file that is in format of text, you can read like this. Okay, so this also we are going to learn it. So if you wanted to read the text file, right, we have to use couple of Java class. One of the class is file. So I'll say first I'll create the object of file class. I'll say file f equal to new file. Okay, and here we have to specify the file name or file path, and we have to import this. Okay, so file path, suppose we wanted to read some file, right? I'll show here the example. I'll create a file here, and I'll say that this one demo file, something like that, .txt, and in demo file txt I'll have some data like I can say here read this file using Java code. Okay, thank you for reading something. This two line I have in this code. I wanted to read this using the Java code. So what I will do, I'll provide the path of that file. So there are two ways. One, you can use the absolute way, or one we can pass the one relative path we can provide, one absolute path we can provide. So how to get the absolute path? For that you have to just right click on the file that we have created. Let's see where we created. This is the demo file, right? I'll just right click, go to the properties. I'll read this file, and I'll go ahead and add the path here. Okay, so this is the file. This is called absolute path, but that start from the root. Okay, in case of Windows it will start from the drive, either C drive or D drive. Okay, in case of Mac we say root. So now we created the file object. To read the file, we have multiple ways, and one way is this file input stream. So we have a class called file input stream, and I'll say the object of this may be fs equal to new file input stream, and I'll provide the file object here f, and I'll import this. Right, so you can see once I have imported, it's showing one more error that's saying unhandled exception, file not found. So that means this function or this constructor has been designed in such a way that it throws some exception. Okay, so whenever we are going to use this, we have to handle that exception. Okay, so how we are going to handle? The same way what we have done it here. Okay, so to handle this, what we have to do, we have to say try and put this code in try catch block like this, catch exception E. Okay, and then it will not show the error. Okay, so basically this was throwing the exception file not found exception, that you can see here also it's throw file not found exception, but the exception is the parent of all the exceptions, so we have wrote the exception. here, but we can write this also, file not found. If I know that what exception to throw. File not found is a class. So basically in Java, everything is a class only. So exception is also a class. So it is part of java.io package. So we have to import it. Okay. So once we import, you will see this java.io.file not found exception got imported. Got it? So once we done this, right, the error got fixed. Our next job is to read the file. So let me see if we have method here. So we have one method that's called read, right? So it is going to read the data byte by byte. So let me see how we can do this. I can say while I can say char fs, I can say c equal to fs dot read, and in this one I'll say if it is not equal to -1. Let's create a char c on top. So I'm reading the character by character data from there. Okay, so I'm writing like this, char c equal to this one, and then I'll just go ahead and print. So I'll say system.out.print, and I'll say print c. Okay. Once you can do, you say it cannot convert this, so I can add a typecasting here saying that convert this to char. Okay, so this is how we do the explicit typecasting. Okay, so once we have fixed all the error, we are getting one more error that is called the read function also throw some exception, and it throw IO exception. Okay, so what we can do here, for this also we can go ahead and add the catch block. Okay, so if we have a multiple type of exception, so we can add that. So I can say here catch IO exception. Okay, I can say this EX. Okay, and this IO exception we have to import from the java.io package. Okay, so this is bit different code now what we have learned previously. So here you can see that we are handling two types of exception. Okay, and the try block is one only, but this try block throw two different error. One is like file not found, another it might throw the IO exception, any other input output exception. So I can just go ahead and print the message system.out.println according to the error. I'll say file not found or something. The file you are looking for on this path is not found. The detailed message we can print it. Here I can say system.out.println, and I'll say error while reading, any message you can put, reading the file. Okay. So whenever the error comes, then only this message will get printed. Otherwise, code will run if everything is fine. Okay. So now let's go ahead and run this code and see what happened. Okay, so when we have run this, it's running our previous program, right? That is do some calculation. Let's fix this. Okay, so let's run this program now, right? So I have multiple function in one class only. I can call any one by one, right? So first one I don't want to call it, so I'll just comment it. I wanted to call read text file only. So I'll just go right click and run as Java app, and you can see it's going and reading the file, right? So the program is still running. That means it's not stopping. Let me click on this. Come on, second. Okay, this got hanged. I have to stop this. So basically, this while loop is not stopping. That means condition is not getting false. We have to add some other condition there. Okay. But here you can see we are able to read the file and able to print it. Okay. This condition we will change it. But where what we are trying to learn it here, this kind of exception also we have to handle in our code. and this is called checked exception, where you use any function and that time itself it throw the error and we have to handle it. So two types. First one is this, we have to know where the exception will come, what kind of exception will come, accordingly handle within catch block. Here the code itself will show the exception, then handle it. Okay. So any question from this program? No question from anyone? I'm going too fast or slow? I want some input.
I think I have a question, but I am just so overwhelmed. I feel like it was a lot of things all at once. Some of them which I understood because we've already done it before. I don't know what my question is though.
Okay.
I'm trying to process.
Yeah, so this is, we are just learning the basic of exceptions. Okay, like what is the exception and how do we handle it, and two different types of exception we have tried to handle here.
Right. So one was the exception when we knew what the error was, and then the second exception you already knew that it was going to throw an error, right?
So in this case you are saying? Yeah, in this case the function itself, so that I might throw this kind of exception, so please handle that.
Right.
In that case, we know that it might come, the error might come, so we have handled that.
Right. So can we, so whenever we're doing this, and if we have to do this in reality, can we rely on, you know, Java in itself telling us you might throw an error, like by giving us a message?
Yes, so definitely it will show that what exception it will throw. If not, then once you run it, and in certain case if the error is coming, in that case your code will break. In that case you have to go and handle that exception. Okay. That's how in the real production some issue, sometimes the system get break, right? Because some of the exception they forget to handle it. So after error comes, then only they come to know, okay, this can also happen.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so based on the error we know that.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, any other question from anyone? Okay, then we'll move to the next program, and we'll move to the Excel sheet this time. Okay, so we have this read Excel program, right? And here we are reading all the data and printing it. And in this Excel file, let's see what data we have it. Not this one. This one, test case. So this is something we were trying to generate, right? Keyword driven, where we wanted to write the steps here, and we want it should automatically run it, right? So for that we have to read this all steps, and once we read it, we have to run this. Okay, so to develop the keyword driven framework, we have one approach. One, we can do if else. If the launch from text is coming, then call the function. Okay, other approach we have it that go through the reflection. Okay, so in Java we have a concept of reflection. So that is again a very core Java core concept. Okay, and it has very depth, so I'll not go in that depth. I'll just show you that how do we run the function directly from the Excel sheet. Okay, so for that I will just try to write as basic code I can, so everyone can understand. Okay, so whatever we are writing here, I want this to run. Okay, so for that what I will do, I'll go ahead and create one library class. Okay, and I'll give the name here, maybe automation steps. Okay, this is the class I have created. So when you are developing the keyword driven framework, what you have to do, we have to develop all our keywords here. Keywords means function. Function means what we are going to call it from here, right? So the first function, suppose I wanted to call is the launch Chrome. Okay, so that means in our program we should have one function called launch Chrome, right? And this should have the code for launching the Chrome. So we already have the code, so I'm not writing it here. I'll just print the message like Chrome is launched, something like that. Okay, so in place of this code, you can write any code for launching the Chrome. Whatever we created in library class, you can just copy paste. Okay, so this is the first keyword we have developed. Now let's go for the second keyword, search on text box, right? So I should have this method, public void. So basically we are developing a framework, okay? That's a keyword driven framework. We are writing all the keywords. And these all code you already know how to write it. So I'm just putting the basic message, search on text box. So here I'll go ahead and type some message, searching on text box. Okay. So once we do this, let's go ahead and create one more, like verify the result. So here we can go ahead and give any message. I'll say verify the result, and I'll just print a message here called system.out.println, and I'll say success. Okay, result success. And then I have one more function here. So you know what to do in this function, right? I'm just putting the demo message. So while I'm writing the code, let me know if anyone has any question. So I'll just say this is for close applications. I'll say println closing the application. You don't need to type this code. I'll send everything in the Slack, and you can try to run in your system. First, try to understand. So this is the one class we created that is called automation steps, and that have this 4 function developed that we call as keywords in keyword driven framework. Okay. Next, our target is to run this function from what is that, Excel sheet, right? So basically we are not running from here, we'll run from our program only, but whatever steps we will provide it here in that same sequence our program will run. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to create a driver file. Okay, so driver file is nothing but it will go and read the Excel line by line, and it will execute the program. Let me close this all dummy thing. So this is the read Excel program we have it, right? So what I'll do, I'll create one more function of similar type. Okay, so I'll not change this function, and this function name I'll provide as keyword driver. Okay, so you can say keywords execution driver. So this is the function. Their job is to read the function from the Excel sheet and do the execution. Okay. So in this case, whatever code we are not using, I think that we can remove. This all we are not using, so I'll remove it. So less code, we will not have more confusion. So now we are going to read the data, right? So our task is to just read the data from the test step as of now. Okay. Later we can read the test case name, status, everything. As of now, our job is to read the test step name so that we will able to execute. So you can see the test step, it is the column second, and the data start also, the real data start from the row second. So basically our task could be to read from the row second and onwards for the column 2, right? And in terms of here, I think it will be column 1 because it starts from 0 0. So it's 0 0, this is 0 1, this is 1 1. So let's write the logic accordingly. So here number of rows, that loop we need, but number of column ones we don't need because we know what column to read. And suppose I wanted to read the first 4 record only. or first 5 record. Okay, this we will fix it dynamically, but as of now, just we see how we do that. So now we are going to read from the cell that is like cell number 1 that has the test step, and once we read the data, our job is to print that. So I'll just print this, and I'll call this print. First I will print, and then we'll see how to call the function. Okay, this all code I'll remove, unnecessary code as of now. Okay, so this is the simple data that we are, our function that we have a keyword execution driver. So exactly this is how you are going to create a function in your class, and you're going to put the name something like this, right? So this will be our driver. Their job is to take the steps from the Excel and run it step by step. Getting? So okay, so once we have read this, let's just run it and see whether it's reading the data or not. So I'll just run, and okay, so basically it's running the previous function. So I wanted to call this function here. Okay, and here one more thing we'll see, that is like here the keyword execution driver is a non-static function, right? And we are calling this inside the static function. Main is always static. So for that reason only we have created the object of the class. Okay, so just now earlier we discussed, when we have a two static function, no need the class name in the same class. If you have a two non-static function, no need the class name. If one static, one non-static, then only we need the class name or class object to access that. So now we are calling our keyword execution driver, and once we'll run this, it's reading all our steps, right? So launch Chrome and this all. So now whenever this function comes, I wanted to execute our automation steps, this function. Okay, this is very technical. I'll not go in so depth, but I'll just show the demo how it works. Okay, so our task is to run these all keywords based on the data coming from Excel sheet. Okay, so first thing what we will do it here is, okay, let's start the loop from 1 because test step will ignore, right? So if you run the loop from 1, you will get exactly the steps what you wanted to run it. Okay, now we have the steps ready, that is there in our this data string variable. Here onwards we wanted to execute the steps. Our all steps are there in automation steps.java. So our job is to write or create the object of this class. So I'll say automation steps, and I'll say steps equal to new automation steps, right? So this is how we create the object of any class. And because this is in different package, so I have to import that package, right? Import automation steps. So far, any question from anyone? So once we get the object, with help of this object, I need to get the class object. Okay, so this object is different, the class object is different. So in Java we have a class, we can say class. Okay, so we are creating the object of that class, and this is the generic class we have it. So I'll say how do we create, with this method get class. Okay, once we do this, right, our next task is to create object of method. So what I'll say, method m equal to c dot get method, and in method we have to specify the names. So what we have to do here, what is the name of the method, that is data. If you know this, the data is something that we are reading from Excel sheet. So we are saying the name of the method is data, and then we have to pass the parameter type. So basically we don't need parameters. I'll remove this and semicolon. So I'll explain this code. Let me get the correct method here, and that come from java.lang.reflect. So I told, right, this is called the Java reflection, okay, concept, where with help of reflection what we can do, we can call any method that is in format of a string. Okay, so whatever data we are reading from Excel that is in format of a string, so basically we are trying to call that. So now you can see get method also throw some exception. So our job is to handle this with help of try catch. Okay, so there are two ways to handle. One, we can do the try catch here, and other one more we can throw the exception from here. Getting? So once we are throwing the exception from here, whoever class is handling that, it will be their jobs to handle it. Okay, so I am just throwing the exception from here, so the main function will take care of that. Okay, so I'm not adding the try catch. So this is the two way to handle the exception, either add the try catch or throw it from there. So once we have thrown, now our job is to write the method c dot okay, what is the method? Or aim dot, yeah, this is the method we have aim dot invoke, where we have to specify the object and argument. So basically we don't have the argument, so we'll just specify the object. That's it. Okay, so this is the code of reflection, Java reflection. Okay, so you don't need to go in the core concept now because this will be taught too deep, but on high level what we have to understand it here is that what we are trying to achieve, whatever keywords we have wrote it here, okay, we wanted to execute that. Okay, so if we change it here also, our execution will get changed. So what was our target? Suppose we have this manual test case searching on google.com. For that we are performing these 4 steps. For this all 4 steps our code is written in the Java. Here I have wrote the sample code. You can replace this with the Chrome code. It will work like that, right? So now we have created the keyword execution driver. Our next job is to just run it. So once we'll run, now let's see what happened. Okay, so we have some error that's saying object is not in the class. Okay, for launch Chrome. So we'll go and see where the error is, line number 41. So here we are saying this steps dot this. Let me see. I say here control G copy. Where is the code? So you may not need to write this kind of code in your company, okay, because you're not designing the keyword driven framework. It will be already designed for you, okay. But if you know this code, it will be it will be helpful to understand the framework in details, okay. Okay. So there is the problem here. This is the launch Chrome, right? And we're getting the error here in 41. That is this invoke. Let me run in debug mode and see what is happening here. So if I debug mode we have discussed, right, where we go and run our code step by step. And here if you see it's saying launch Chrome only. And this launch Chrome, we have it here. So this is the method that we are trying to launch. Okay, so this is correct. Let me see. What is the mistake here? We are doing it something. Invoke. So we created this class C, and let me see. Do we have it? No. I can see the test run. No, the mission is to do the section first vaccination. Test. Okay, we are questioning the object. That's correct. Stop it here and see that. Okay. So basically here we have to pass this object here that we are missing. Here we have to pass steps. Okay, now it should work. Let's go ahead and run. And you can see what is happening. First it has called the launch Chrome. Then whatever code was written in launch Chrome that has run, Chrome is launched. Then search on text box, searching on text box, verify the test result, success, close the application and closing the application. Okay. So all the function has been called. So if now the suppose keyword driven is got developed. Now someone if they change this flow, right? If I just go and copy here, paste this one, cut, paste, and if I just go cut and paste. So now you can see I have changed the flow here. We are launch Chrome, then verify result, search on text box, suppose. So if I'm changing the test case flow here, our execution will change it here. You don't need to change anything in the Java. You are controlling your all the framework execution or test case execution from directly from the Excel sheet. So if I just go ahead and run, you'll see this time our flow will be different. So first they are doing verifying the result, printing the message success, then searching on the text box. Suppose if these both steps are not dependent on each other, in that case we are doing. If it is dependent, you have to call in that sequence only, right? Okay, so this is how we have just created a demo example of how do we create the keyword driven framework. Okay, and if you understood this, you can write as much more code on this and keep adding more steps. So here we are seeing how to read the data from Excel, and then whatever function name we are reading from Excel, how to execute. This is the just 4 lines of code that you have to know. So any question from anyone? Yeah.
Sorry. So can you run through this Java reflection step one more time? What you
Yes,
did in that 4
sure,
lines?
sure, definitely. Yes, that's a good question. Yes, so what we are doing here, so our all the keywords or function are written in this class, right?
Yeah.
And these all the 4 keywords are there as of now. So going forward, you have to add more here. As much you can add it that support your entire automation framework. So if a manual tester is there, they have to just work on Excel sheet, nothing on the code part. Your job is to work on this code. So our all the codes are here under automation steps class. We can have more class also or one class also. So in automation steps class, we have all the function. So what we are doing it here now, I think we are doing it here. Read Excel. Yes. So first we are creating the object of our class. Got it? Now we are creating a class object. Okay. This is a bit weird, but when you do the class name dot class, it will give you the object of that class. So these 2 steps is mandatory. Okay. Once this 2 is done, the third one what we are doing, we are creating a object of method. Okay. So generally when we discuss about class, object, method, those are the other steps. But for the same thing, we have a class also in Java called method. Okay. This comes from reflection. If you see here, reflect.method. So what we are doing, we are creating the object of this method and where we are passing our method name, and method name is data, and this data comes from the Excel sheet. We are reading from that column, right? Excel sheet column, whatever we have, this test step column. So we are saying I am creating a object of method class with the method name as launch Chrome in first time. Second time it will be the other function. Third time other function. So every time whatever function name comes from the Excel, it will read it. Okay, so it create the method class object. Now the method class has a method called invoke, where if you pass the object name of our class, that means if they are going to execute our this automation steps launch Chrome method or anything. Okay, without reflection, if we are doing it, it will be something like this: steps dot launch Chrome. Okay, but in this case, what is happening? We have to hard code our method name, right? But here we are not hard coding because we are going for keyword driven where the method name is coming from Excel sheet. So we cannot hard code what time which function the user will call it. So to make it this dynamic, we have to use the reflection concept. So basically this 4 line is just doing this only, the step.launch Chrome. Okay.
Yeah, is this like this Java reflection, is it a concept of Java or is it like a library?
It's a Java concept. Okay. And to support this concept, Java has a package called java.lang.reflect. Okay. And to support this concept, right, they have a package, and in this package they have a couple of methods that you can know and explore. Here you can see we have a method, then we have arrays already there, constructor, and then we have fields. So whatever things you see in a class, right, everything will be available here. Got it?
Okay.
Any other question, Sasank or anyone?
If we are going to use the Java reflection, we have to have this class and method written by default, right?
Yes. So this 2 line is default. Basically, this 3 line is default, right? The first line is based on where you're writing your steps.
Yeah.
Here we're writing in automation steps. So this 3 line is fixed. Okay. So this will be only helpful when you are going to design the framework. Okay. Whenever you join a company, framework is already designed. If it is based on the keyword, they will have this code somewhere. You might not see this code if they're hiding this inside the jar file. Yesterday we saw, right, how to create the jar file. So it may not be visible to you, but internally they will work like this. Okay. So we are saying, yeah.
Sorry. So how does this concept work with the BDD that we saw yesterday?
No, so BDD, like it's not related to BDD. It's like when we are developing our custom framework.
Yeah, but the steps like we wrote, right? Given when.
Yes. So internally, Cucumber, whoever would have developed the Cucumber, they would be also using this some reflection concept of Java. Okay. So they would be using the reflection concept internally. Yes, you are right. But this is not related to that. When we are developing our own custom framework, we will write this kind of code.
Got it.
Got it? Okay, perfect. Any other question?
Mrityunjay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you're calling it a keyword driven, is there something required, like the keywords, do they need to match each other? How it is mapping it from the, the classes, actually the functions what we have created, is it mapping it with the keywords given in the Excel file?
Yes, that's why we are doing it, right? Here, whatever we have the function name, right, or the keyword name we are calling it, for each keyword we have created the function here in the launch step. Launch Chrome, search for this text box and this all. So it should have the matching.
So are these case sensitive? My point is that verify the result. If I make verify result and my keyword would be verify the result, it would fail, right?
Yeah, it should be exactly same. If it is a little bit different, it will fail. That's correct.
Okay. Okay,
yes.
Got it.
Yeah, so here you can see 3 things that we are doing it. One, we are writing the keyword, this one, what is the execution driver. So this is the job of framework developer that they will do one time and they will leave it. Okay. Automation steps. This is the job of automation tester where they have to write all the keywords. Okay. And this, whatever is saying in the Excel file, this is the job of manual tester to just call all those keywords. If some keyword is not available, he or she has to go to the automation tester and say that I need this keyword that has this business flow, please write it for me. So the automation tester will go and write this automation steps, and then if you put it here, it will run it, right? So this test case can be used by automation tester also, but I'm just telling as an example, right? So we are doing 3 things: Excel, automation steps, and this framework part. Okay, so all 3 different users are there for this, for developing.
Mrityunjay, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
So if there is existing framework, right? So if the new QA join, is this something like that? If they think they can change this framework, or it's not going to be changed? or they have to rewrite from the scratch?
No, if someone has developed already in this framework, right? You
Mhm.
don't need to change this. You should just use that framework.
But if what happens if you need to change?
Yeah, if you have requirement to change, then you have to change it. For that, you have to understand their framework, in what way they have wrote it, where they have wrote the keyword code, another code. So then you can change their code.
Can you please post all this files in so we can get that?
Yeah, you wanted to run it now?
Yeah, whenever you have time, maybe before the break or something, just put the file
Yes,
in.
okay, good thing. I should post it. So let me post this. So one is this read Excel. So that half of the code of this you already have it. So half you can take it from here. And the second one is what we have, automation steps. All right, so that is here. So this is, I'm posting it. And then one more, we need this Excel file if you don't have. So here I'll just go and drag and drop this. Yeah, so this three I think we are doing as part of this keyword driven, right? Okay, so let me show you the small example of data driven, then you can practice both. Okay, so keyword driven we have discussed. If you have any question you can ask. Next we'll discuss about data driven. So in case of data driven, what we do, I'll just try with the simple example here. Let me see. So for this I'll just create a small this Testng class. Okay, so I'll say here class, and I'll say this Testng. Okay, and sorry, I'll take any website. Let me take the example of Google only. Automate Google. Okay, and I'll this I'm writing class or Testng. Okay, let me add the Testng class. So I'll say new other. Okay, so this is the recap of Java, Selenium, and Testng, all three. Okay, so you can just watch it how we do that. So I just right click and I have got a Testng, and I need before test and after test. I'm putting it here, right? And then I'll put here the class name. I'll say Google Test. Okay, and I'll click on finish key here. So here our test is ready, right? Now what we want to do it here is so basically we wanted to launch the Google site google.com, and we want to search something, right? So here I'll just say driver equal to, I can say we have a library, so I'll use always library dot launch Chrome with URL. In URL I'll pass it this https://www dot google.com. Okay, so this is the code. We have it that will launch the Chrome with the Google site open. Then what I'll go and Google, I'll just go and search something. So I'll say driver.find element y.name, and I know the Google search name, sorry, y.name, and Google search name I know is Q, right, for query. So I just type it. I don't need to go to the Google site to know this. And then I'll say send keys, and I'll search something here, right? I can search something here, test1 on Google. Okay, and then once I search it, I wanted to press enter also. So better way to do this, keys dot enter. It should work. Okay, perfect. So once we do this, I'll just put here thread dot sleep to wait whether it's searching or not. Or I can do one thing. I can do the assertion here that I think we have not touched. Assertion means we wanted to verify whether the Google has searched our text or not. So I can say assert true, right? And here I'll write the code driver dot get title, and I'll say dot contains, right? And it should contains this what I'm searching. I'm searching test1. Okay, so this is my expectation, and then I'll say driver dot close. Okay, this is the very basic code, but that you will write always as part of your automation. So I'm searching in Google, sending some text with the enter, so it's searching it. After that, I'm getting the title of the Google page, and here I am just verifying that whether the title contains this test1 or not, because we are searching the test1, and then I'm closing the page. That's it. In between that, what we can do it here is, so here I can put the static weight and dynamic weight. So this is how we put the dynamic weight, where we write driver dot manage dot timeout dot, this is the fixed code for the dynamic weight. And here we can say implicit weight, that is called implicit weight. There I can give some time, like I will give the 60 seconds, and I'll say this time unit dot seconds. Okay, so this is the code that you will write always. Okay, so nothing to mug up, automatically you will come to know. So what we are doing it, first launching the Google, putting some wait time, so it will wait maximum of 60 seconds, then searching. So once we put the wait time here, it will be applicable to the throughout of your code, okay, everywhere. So after searching also, it will wait for 60 seconds, and after each action we do in the browser, it will wait for 60 seconds. Okay, so this code, if we just go and run it, let's see how it is working. So I just run this as a Testng test, right? And you can see it has launched the Google, it has searched the test1, right? It has verified the title, and title has that contains test1. That's why it did not fail. Got it? So now this is the, we are testing our code with the one set of data, that is the test1. Suppose we wanted to test our code with a multiple set of data. Okay, in that case we have to use the data driven approach. Okay, so to use the data driven approach in Testng, here we are seeing Testng. Okay, we have to create a function. Okay, I can say public void, or basically data driven function. Whenever we try to do in Testng, we have to create a function that should return this one, 2-dimensional string array. Okay, so this is how we create the 2-dimensional string array, where we write public string, and I'll say like function name could be anything. I can say data provider. Okay, because it's provide the data. Okay, and in this one we can provide the data to the user. Okay, so how do we provide the data to the user? I can create a string double dimension array, and I can say data equal to new string of let me see how do we do this. So if I just go and provide the data here, maybe I'll say test1 and test2, test3, something wrong I'm doing, I'll just check, test4. Okay, so this string example, right? Let me check it here. Yeah, almost close. So we can provide 2-dimension array. So what we're doing it here, we don't need the second one, only the first one we can provide it. So this is the string, and I think we don't need this. Yes, and I can just go ahead and return the data. Later we'll see how we get the data from Excel sheet. As of now, we are just making it static here. So I'll say return data. So this is going to return the data. And on top of this function, we have to add one annotation that is called data provider. Okay, I'll say provider. Okay, and here we'll put the name of the data. So I can say here Google search data. Okay, and this provider we have to import. It is a Testng. You can see it's importing from the Testng. Okay, and here, okay, so as of now what we have done in test, we have not done any changes as of now. Only we are creating the data provider function. Their job is to provide the data. So I can give some other data also. I can say Java is the first that go and search in Google. Next Selenium, right? I want to search more, so I'll say just go ahead and search this. What we have, Testng, right, and more, like this. So 3 data we are sending it through the data provider. Now what we'll do as part of our test, we'll say as of now you was running one time only. Now go ahead and run multiple times for the multiple set of data. So for that I am providing you a data provider. So I'll say data provider equal to this one, Google search data. So I'm saying take all the data from the data provider Google search data and run that. Okay. Okay, so we have to do one more thing here, and that is yes, receive the data here. So we have to basically receive the data in the function string data. I can say, and I can just give the name of this test also. I can say Google search. Okay, that's it. So now what we'll do it here is instead of searching the test here, that is hard coded, this time we'll search the data and we'll look for the data only in the Google title. That's it. Okay, so now recap of this, what we have done, we had already one test created. We created a data provider function where we can pass n number of data for doing the data driven testing. Here we are hard coding the data, but the same thing we can do through the Excel sheet also. So later we'll see how we pass the data in the Excel sheet, and based on that it's searching multiple times on the Google. Okay, if you are able to do with the one application, you can do with the multiple application also, where we have a list of, where we have a form on the page, and we wanted to fill up this form with the multiple set of data, right? Suppose multiple registration. So you can write this code one time, create multiple data in Excel sheet, and that many registration will get created for you. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run and see what happened here. So I'm just going to run this as a test ng. So what it will do, it will launch the Google 3 times. It will search with all 3 data. First time you can see it has searched with Java. Second time it searched with Selenium. It is fast. You can put a wait time to see. Third time is Testng, and it has run our test case 3 times. Even we have at the rate test 1 only, but it's saying total 3 tests has run, because we have run using the data driven way. So this is called data driven. Write the code once, run it for multiple times with providing the multiple data. Okay, so you can see 3 times all our test case got passed because the cert was true, right? First time we call this Google search with Java, second time Selenium, then Testng. Okay, and who is calling this multiple time? This data provider with the multiple data. Okay, so this is how we do the data driven. If you understood this, you can do this on any scale, whatever you have the requirement, but this you should understand it first. So any question from anyone?
Yeah. So the data provider, that's the is that a JUnit annotation? Is that
No, it's a Testng annotation, right?
oh Testng annotation.
Yeah, so Testng only provide the data driven feature. JUnit doesn't provide it.
Okay.
Okay, and then Cucumber also provide the data driven approach that we discussed yesterday, that is scenario outline, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these 2 framework provide you the data driven approach. One Testng, one is like this Cucumber. For JUnit, you have to write this code manually. Like if I want to do this in JUnit, I will write a for loop here, and the for loop will run this code multiple times based on the data we are giving in the array. Okay, but in the case of Testng, we don't need to write the for loop. Testng, data provider, and Testng will take care of that. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Any other question from anyone? I know I'm going a bit fast, but you just try to practice this. Okay, If you have any question, you can let me know. So this Google test, I'm just
Mrityunjay,
yeah. Tell me.
so this data provider annotation, what you're, it's an inbuilt method which includes the for loop. So my assumption was you're using the two-dimensional array. So one
Yes.
dimension will save these keywords, Java, Selenium, Testng. Is the first one by default saving the index for them? Is that how it is running the for loop for them?
Yeah. So internally, basically, the data provider implement the for loop only, and they call this Google search multiple times. That's why they are showing in the log also here. Okay. So either write the for loop manually or use the data provider. Both will be the same. So
Oh,
this is a bit simple.
okay.
So we have to use it, but the same thing we can do with the for loop also. It will do exactly the
Okay.
same, nothing different. So internally, data provider that Testng has developed, they would have done this for loop or some other loop they would have used.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I posted this code in Slack, right? I'll just take 10 minutes break and I'll come back and we'll discuss other concept. Meanwhile, you just run this all code and let me know if you have any error. We'll try to debug and then we'll try to learn our other concept that we have, I think, lot more pending. Extent, logger, screenshot, docker, rest assure. If anything else you think it's pending that we have wrote initially in the list, just let me know. We'll discuss all. Okay. Not only discuss, we'll do the practical program so that you will able to do the practical later with the all those concepts. Okay. So let me take the 10 minutes break and I'll come back after that.
A quick one, Mrityunjay. So the copy paste that you did,
Yes.
it looks like it's a plain copy paste, not with that code format. I'm not able to copy paste it. Sure.
Oh, okay. So I have not sent this in the code format. I directly send this as a program itself. So if you see my screen, right, you have a download button here in the Slack.
Yeah,
You
I
can
do.
download this file and the same file you can use this in your Eclipse directly.
Okay, because when
Okay,
I
download this file and drag this to Eclipse. So you will directly be able to use this.
Okay.
Got it? Or I think you can copy paste also. That will also, you can see it's code format only by default.
Okay, when I
So
did the
instead of copy, you download it and drag it to your package in Eclipse.
Okay.
Okay, sure. So thank you everyone. I'll just come in 10 minutes. Hello. Hello, all should be start now. Can anyone hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So how do we know if everyone is available or not?
I'm here.
Okay, Samyak, what about Meghna, Sarita, Sasank, Sridevi?
I'm here.
Okay. What about Sasank, Sridevi, Sarita? You there? I think we'll wait a couple of time. And let's see. So now it's launching the Chrome, right? So it will work in your system, okay? You
Okay.
can stop sharing now.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
can I share mine?
yeah, sure. Share it. So use the first project what we have used, okay? So in that case, you will not get this kind of error because
Yes,
I'm using that one project only. Later we can create other project with all the dependency. So whenever we work with Maven, dependency is always problem. And even like
I have an issue in my system.
multiple jar. Yeah, I can see that. So the error is here. Have you copy pasted the code from there?
Yeah, what you sent.
So you have not drag and drop the file, right? You have just copy pasted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's why some extra characters is there. That's why in this error. This is very typical error. If I save this, now all error gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Google search, Google test, perfect. Let me run this also here. Testng. Launching the Google test encounter that Java is not in Maven project registry. Well, this is too much. Okay, let's fix this error. So this is the Maven project. So this testng doesn't work with this open QA. Okay, so here do you have this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fix this first, right? I think here something is missing. It's defect ID. If I save this, it got downloaded, and Google test. If I go, it got fixed, and we have testng. Without testng, if it is work, it's better. Build path, remove from build path. Save this. Now run testng. Perfect. It's working in your system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so got the issues. Where were the issues? I think one pom.xml file, and I think that was the only issues. Okay,
Okay.
you can see it's running multiple times. Yeah, you can stop sharing. Anyone else is getting the error
Me,
with this?
can you please share my? Can I share my screen, please?
Yeah, sure. So everyone, it's just learning for everyone. You can just watch out the other screen and see what is the solution for what error. So I think you have also copy pasted the code, right? You have not drag and drop. So if you would
No.
have drag and drop, this error would have not came. So let me try to get the control. So I'll just try to show. You have not drag and drop, right?
No,
So
I
let me
copy
show you that. Let me
And
show
I
you the.
copy pasted in Notepad, thinking it will just strip away
Okay.
any.
That's the good approach. Yes, but still it's showing it. So let me try here the drag and drop. So we'll see if there's still the error is there. So do I have the access of your screen? Okay, now I have it. So I'll delete from here. Okay, Google test. Continue. So now where is the Slack you have?
Slack is here.
Or have you already downloaded this file in download folder?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to download folder directly. So this is how we do when someone is sharing the code on Slack with the file itself. Then go ahead, download it, and then download, you will have that code. I think we don't have it here. So let's download back. So which is the code we have sent? This is the library one, and this is the Google, right? Yes. So let's go ahead and what we do here. Okay, here we have the download. So click on download, and I think it is downloading. So better go ahead and save as. Save as desktop. Google test. Anywhere we'll save it. Then let's go to the okay, we can do here itself. So we'll go to the desktop, and we have this Google test. So directly drag and drop to Selenium Java wherever you want. So once I drag and drop, it's saying link file, copy file. So better copy file. And we have this Google test here available. Let's go and open. So one library is there, issue. So you have to, I think, link this library. Do you have library?
Mine, yes, but my library starts with a lowercase l. So that should.
Oh, okay. Okay, so class name should always start with the caps, okay? And method is like with the small. If you are using the Java, but in C#, it's just reverse, okay? So it's not error, but it's just a Java convention that we follow. In case of C#, it's just reverse. Python, again, different. So multiple language had multiple things. So here, JUnit, I don't know why I have used the assert. I could have used the Testng only. You also follow that practice of Testng assert only if you are using that. As of now, I'll just fix this, and I'll add a library, and I'll add the JUnit library in your system. Right, so this is how we add the library. Added JUnit 5. Hope so it works. Okay, so once we have it, save, and all is got fixed. Let's run this. So configuration and this installation tough things is always tough, because we are very much dependent on the versions, and it can break in any system. So now I think it's working in your system. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Anyone else facing the issue with this code? Google test. Okay, if no, let me share the screen. So everyone go to the code Google test, what is working in your system, right? And try to do the changes here. Whatever changes I'm doing it. Okay, step by step if you follow, you will not have any error. So first, okay, so pom.xml we have already updated. Our next task is to go ahead and create the object, or object of, we can say, the extent report. Okay, so we'll go ahead and create a variable called extent test, and I'll give the name test here. Okay, this is the line I'm writing on top of my @test. And if you move mouse over on extent test, it will give you the option to import. So if you're getting this option to import, that means extent report jar file got downloaded in your project with help of Maven. If you're not getting this, that means you have to go back to previous step in pom.xml and paste that dependency of extent in your pom.xml. So I hope everyone is getting it. Once you got it, click on this. Okay, extent test. Got it? So if we got, now let's go ahead and initialize this test variable. Okay, so how do we initialize this test variable? So for that, we need to have one more variable called extent report. Okay, I'll say extent reports, and I'll give the name here anything, report. Got it? Now go ahead and import this also. This two line, very simple line. Okay, so we need two class only to work with the extent initially. Later we can use other class also. Now we will go in our test. Basically, this code we write in @ before or other thing, but we don't have as of now. So we'll write everything here itself, okay, in @test, and we'll see what happens. So now we'll go ahead and do one thing here. We'll initialize our report, okay. So I'll say here report equal to new extent reports, and we will provide the path of our file where I wanted to generate the report. Okay, by default it will generate in HTML format. So I'll provide this file name. I'll say this report.html, simple. I'm not giving any path, so it will create in our home directory, in the main directory. Once we have done this, I'll say here inside the test, I'll say test equal to report.start and report.start test, and we'll provide here the test case name. Okay, the test case name I'll say search, I can say perform, anything you can put, perform the search on google.com. This is our test case. Okay, so start test is going to create the test case. Once we are done with the start test, right, now we are going to create multiple steps here. Okay, so suppose after launching the Chrome, I'll give the steps here, and for this I'll write test.log. okay, and whenever you are creating the steps, you have to say whether your steps getting failed or passed. So if our steps getting failed here, that we will decide based on the if condition, right? So I'll say log status dot pass. Okay, and we'll put some message here. This step got passed, but what it is doing? So this step I can say Chrome browser got launched successfully. So this is our first test step, right? That we have wrote it. Next, I'll copy the same line. I'll paste it here, and I'll say this also got it passed. I'm not giving any failed one. I'm just doing the pass only. So here I'll say this search. I can say search is working as expected. Okay, I can say search functionality is working as expected, and I'll paste one more time, and the last I'll say close the browser. Close the browser. Okay, so this is all the steps that you are performing in the code. So this test of .log we can write as many times we want, wherever we want, with whatever the status. So whatever status means based on our conditions, right? So here if assert got failed, we have to put the fail message. If it is got passed, we have to put the pass message. Okay, so we'll see that how we'll do the fail pass with help of if condition or assert or try catch. There are multiple ways that we can do it, but as of now we are just learning how to create the extent report. So for that, what we are doing it, we are just writing all the pass message. So once we are done with all the pass message, right, we'll do one thing here, that everything I'm doing test, that will have one problem, that will fix it later. But next what I'll do, I'll say once I have started the test, I have to end the test also, right? So I'll say go ahead and end the test. Okay, so the test case got started and test case got ended here now. Okay, and once it got ended, I'll say I wanted to write this report to the file, whatever file name I have given it. So for this we have report.flush is the function that will go and write everything to our test case file or report file, whatever I have given report.html. Okay, so you can put the comment also which function is doing what. I'll also add the comment here. First we'll try to see whether it's working or not. Okay, so let me know if you are getting any error so far. So what we have done it here is created two objects, that's it, two class object. One is extend test, another one is extend report. Okay, and with help of these two, we are creating the extend report object and test.log is passing our steps with some function, some test step description, and the start test is creating the test cases. Once you are done with this, go ahead and the code, right, run as testng test. Okay, it will perform the action whatever is happening here. Okay, running for 3 test case, but in report it will show 1 test case only because it is going to override everything. So we'll try to fix that later. First, let's see whether our test has run or not. So you can see total 3 test case has been run. Okay, if it is running successfully in your system without any error, then go ahead and refresh your project. Okay, and in your project you should see one file called report.html got created on the root folder, on the project level folder. You can see at the last. So if you go and double click on that, you should able to see the report here, whatever we created it. Okay, so here I will just right click and I can open this. Do we have open option? Yeah, open with, I can say, system editor. So it will open the Chrome in the Chrome browser. So you can see it's saying performing the search on google.com, and these 3 steps we have added and all steps got passed. So let me know so far if you have any question with these steps and if you are not able to generate the report. If you are able to generate this basic report, then we can modify, customize in this in any way based on our need. Any question?
Mrityunjay, I ran the test. I'm getting a whole bunch of failures. So is it something that in the timeout receiving message from the renderer? Is it how it's going to be?
That is fine. It is kind of error, right? Timeout.
Is there any way we can?
This is coming from Selenium, and they have some issue with this framework, right? So we have to dig into this why they are showing this error, because this is coming to the everyone, right? So this is issue with the Selenium framework only. Okay, so we'll consider this as a warning and we'll ignore it. After that only our test case should run. Okay, with all this black text. So that we can ignore and we can keep moving here.
Where do we find this report file?
Report
Is it
will be
under
in your project last. In your project, if you go where you have pom.xml, it will be near to that. Did you find it? If your test is running without any error, you should see this.
Yeah, it says 0 failures and test runs 3, but I didn't create it. I did refresh it as well.
So did you given the file name as report.html?
Yes.
And you're not able to see in the Eclipse, then you can go to your folder explorer and go to your project, and you should see there also the way I'm seeing it. So in the explorer, you can go and look for this file. So you can see here also report.html got created. If you didn't get any error there.
Mine has an error. Mine says test failed.
Okay. And what is the reason for test failed?
Let me take a look. So there's a bunch of things in here. It says failed Google search. Org.testing.testng exception.
Okay, can you show? I'll see everyone's system one by one, whoever getting it failed. So
Can I show
yeah,
you one?
yeah, I can share it.
Okay.
Yes, so what the error you're getting here is let me check it here. Data provider. So before adding this code, it was working.
Yes, I mean, yeah, it was. The report.
So string.
After, do we have to write anything after close the browser?
No, but here, did you commented this code, this one, because it was failing data provider in your system?
I commented the data equals Java.
So this one you have commented because it was failing or what? Let me run this now.
Oh, I thought that wasn't necessary. Oh, now it's working?
Yeah, so last two line you have missed it. So if you write that last two line, you should see the report. Okay.
Okay, let me take a look at yours then.
Yeah, you can check that. Okay.
Okay, so now
That's what,
I'll. Okay.
yeah, last two line you can write it and then you'll have the report.
Okay.
Okay, so who else want to share the screen? If you're getting the error.
No, it's working, but I don't know where to see the report.
Okay, it's working and you're running under Java only, right?
Mhm.
This project.
Yeah.
And you're doing this end test and the plus this two messages. And if I go, let me take the control here. And if you go ahead and refresh this, you have this report.html, right?
Yeah.
I think you have refreshed some other folder, not the main folder.
Oh, okay.
Right? That's why. So you have this report. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else getting the error? Okay, if no, then
I think I'm missing one thing after that end test. What was that report dot flush? The last statement?
yeah, I'll show this here. Can you see this one? This two only. End test and report.flush.
Maybe that was missing. That's why I didn't create the report.
Okay, so just add this and check. You should have the report now. So this end test,
And I should again run the report, right? Sorry, the test as Testng.
yeah, if you run again, then only it will work. That's correct. So I just changed this location of this two and let's see. So everyone can just try running, see the code. And you can customize also. Try with the field also. Try to fill some steps and see how the report coming. Okay. So if you know this, you will able to customize.
Hey,
Okay,
Mrityunjay,
now I can see it.
Yeah. Tell me, Sasam.
quick question.
Yeah.
This extent reports is not part of Testng, right? I mean, it's just another.
Yes, you're right. This is not related to Testng. This we can use anywhere.
Okay, So
Yes.
we just have to include the dependency in the POM file, and then we can use it like that, right?
Exactly. This 4 or 5 lines of code, whatever we have it, right? We have to just write that.
Okay.
You're right. Yes, correct.
Mrityunjay, in my Mac, where am I looking at the report?
Report, if you refresh your project, right?
Mhm.
Right click on your project and refresh it. You'll have refresh option. And if you scroll down or wherever you have this pom.xml, it should be near to that.
Wherever I found that XML. Okay, so
Have you added this last 2 lines?
the
Report.end
report,
test.
yes.
If you add it, then you should have the report. Just check it, refresh the project, you'll get it.
Okay. So refresh the project,
Yes.
and then where do I see it?
In the same project, you have the report.html file. Are you able to see that?
No.
Okay, 1 second.
Report.
Okay, now, okay, I'll come to your system. Now, what I have done here, that you should also try it. Here you can see in my system now, I have 3 test cases, right? Because we were running that 3 times. So first time we were running with the Java, second time with Selenium, and then Testng. All these 3 we are searching in the Google, right? So every time I wanted to give the different test case name, so that I have done it here. So you can see I have different test case name, and for each test case, I'm performing same steps. So it is showing all the same test steps for that. If I go in reporting, now you can see we have total 3 test case and 9 steps and all got passed. Okay, so this is how you can just try it in your system. Even I'm saying just try something like this. Last step I wanted to fail. Okay, and let me fail this middle step. I'll say fail it and run it. So if you try with different way, you'll get some more queries, and you will learn it more here, like what happen if a failure comes. Okay, so I'm running with the fail test case now. Means I'm intentionally failing it, even our test case is not failing. Okay, so here pass fail is totally different than Testng and JUnit. I think Sasank asked the question, right? So this is not related to our Testng framework. Okay, so if something we are doing in a certain Testng, the extent report will not able to know that. Okay, whether the Testng got fail or not. So we have to write our on if condition to know that whether it's getting or pass or fail. Okay, so there assert we should not use basically. We'll use the if else condition, and that's the better way to do. So you can see now I have customized, and where you can see my all the test cases are failing because one of the steps is failed, because search is, it's saying search is working as expected. Here we can change the name message also. I can say search is not working as expected. Okay, and that causing everything fail. So if I go and report, you'll have a different view. I have 3 test cases, all got failed, but out of 9 steps, 3 steps got failed and 6 steps got passed. Okay, so this is the report. This is the custom report they have it, that you will have every time. Only the number of test case and test steps you can increase here. Okay.
I was able to see my report now.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so any other question from Testng? There are many things to explore. You can just explore on this one, Testng one. Okay, and keep creating the project. Okay. Next thing, if you don't have any question, I just wanted to show one logging mechanism, like how we do the logging in Java, and that is very simple code. So I just wanted to show you that code. I already have it. Let me check here. It's just a very simple code here. But I don't know where I have it. Data provider configures. Google text. Somewhere I had it. So this file input we saw, right? Okay. So logging, basically I have added in this test only. So for logging, you have to do nothing. You can try it to add the logging also as part of, and for this, we don't need to add any external dependency. Okay. So logging is available. There are many frameworks is available for logging. One is like Apache logging. For that you have to download, that is called log4j. One, the logging comes with the Java only. Okay. So you don't need to add anything with this. Any dependency we don't need to add. Okay. So suppose in Google test, if I wanted to perform the logging as well, what I will do, this is the one line of code that I will write it. Okay. And once we wrote this, right? Okay, let me save. And then we have to write couple of lines, 2-3 lines of only more. And that's it, it will do that stuffs. So one, I wanted to do this one. And okay, not the reporting one. Loggers. Okay, let me show you this. That's it. This code we need. So I'll just explain you step by step. You don't need to write this also. I'll send the code. You just try to understand the concept. What happened in case of logging. Okay. So I'll just add this code and say logging in Java. Okay. So here I'm adding this in Google test only. So I'll just import this file handler. Okay, it's throwing the exception. So in this case, we have two ways to handle. I can just throw it as of now in this case. It's saying security exception. That's fine. So this is how basically we do the logging. So for that, what we have to do, this is the line number 1 logging, where we have to create the object of logger, and that we create with help of logger.getLogger. Then we give the file name where you wanted to write the log. I wanted to write in app.log. Okay. Then we have to just provide the formatter, simple formatter. There are multiple formatter available. Like you wanted to write the log in JSON format or XML format or normal plain text, right? If you wanted to write in plain text, we have to do the simple formatter. Okay. Once we get the simple formatter object, we have to add this object inside the logger object. Once you are done, that's it. Now you can go ahead and keep putting the message here. Okay. The first message I am putting logger.log. That is an info type message. Okay. We can put many types of message: info, error, warning. Okay. Debug. Okay. So if it is normal info, we can say just a info. If it is error, we can say label.error. Okay. So here you can see before starting the Chrome, I am putting a log, and then I can go ahead and add more log here. Maybe one here after launching the Chrome. So I can say after starting the Chrome browser, and I can go ahead and put one more log, and I can say test completed. Okay. So basically log, why we use that? This is very useful in case of framework. So we have learned the Jenkins, where we saw how we run our test case overnight or schedule the test case to run it on any time, right? So suppose we have run hundreds of test cases with help of Jenkins, right? If something got fails, how will go tomorrow office and check it where it got fails? So if we have the logging mechanism available, we can add this logging on each detail level. Okay. So wherever it's failed, the login is going to write all the stuffs, whether it's pass or fail in app.log file, or it could be any file. Okay. So that tomorrow I can go and check the app.log file and debug our issue, like where it got failed. Okay. So I have just wrote this code. This is the simple lines of code. This is the 3 lines you have to write. And for object creation, you have to do this. Okay. This is the fix that you have to do always in case of logging. If you are going for the default logging with the Java. Okay. If you are going for Apache log4j, there also will have their class only, but the set of code will be same. Okay. Now if I'm going to run, you'll see the difference, what is happening here. Okay. So the test started running and it started logging also in app.log. Okay. So this will run the multiple times. Okay, that's it. So now you can see it has run multiple times. And if I go to our project, I have one file got created that is called app.log. I'm not providing file paths for any of our this whenever we're writing either log report or any other file. Okay, because you're not providing it, will by default will go to your project. Okay, if you wanted to go inside any of your folder, then definitely you have to provide the path here. Okay, so app.log is by default creating inside the project top folder. If I open this, you will see all the logging with date and time got recorded. Okay, so you can see here they are creating for Google search at this time. Timing you saw we have not added, but still they are adding it, right? So this is the benefit. So this is code is running, that is Google test from this package. It's a info type of message that they're saying before starting the Chrome browser. Okay, then another log, then another log. So the number of times we have wrote, it's running. So first test case completed here, sync test completed. For second test case, again the report. So the number of logs, more details log you will write it. It will be more useful for you later to debug it. Okay, so here the only things to know where to put the log so that tomorrow if got failed, we should able to debug that. Okay, how to do this logging? It's very simple. Just this 3 lines of code we have to write it. Okay, and then keep calling this. We can put here error as well. As I told you, we can say label dot this. We have info and we have this off warning. We have it right. I think we have info warning only. That too they're supporting. They have fine, finer, finest, that you can read what is the meaning of this. Okay, let me try with the warning one. If we have some warning message, and if you run this, it will show that in the log warning. Okay, we're opening this log file, the text file, so it's not showing any different style. It's just showing that in text file only, but there are multiple log reader tools or software we have it, where if you open the same log, it will show the warning maybe in the red color. Okay, or other stuff, the info maybe in the green color, something like that. But here we are using with the text editor only. It will just show you that this is a warning message. This is the warning message. Okay, that's why this label also help us to understand like what kind of error came there, right? So directly later, if you wanted to just filter up a log with help of warning message only, we can go ahead and filter that. So we have a couple of tools available that help us in filtering the logs. Okay, so there we can filter only the warning message show me, or only the error message show me. So they'll just show those kind of error. So we can go ahead and debug our application. Okay, so this is how we do the logging. I'll share this code for logging also, so you can practice. Okay, but before that, anyone has any question on the login one?
Was there a dependency on this one too?
No, that's why I told this is coming from Java. Okay, but if you are using log4j, that is also one very famous logging tools that is from Apache. So in that case, you have to add the dependency. Okay, in this case, it's coming from Java util package, so we don't need the dependency. But for log4j also, the concept will be same only. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other question? So these all things will be there in any of the framework if you are using it. Okay, so if you're using any framework, they will have it either exactly the same tools what I'm saying, or maybe similar to others. Like for reporting, we saw 3 different tools as of now, like one Testng, one extend Testng have their own report, extend report we have saw, and then Cucumber also have their reporting. Okay, unfortunately it's not running due to some error. Otherwise, once it will run, it will show you their own reporting. Okay, so this 3 reporting, any team or any framework can use any one of that. Then if we come to this execution part, they can use the JUnit or Testng or the Cucumber, or they can create their custom this custom keyword driven framework that we have done it, right? So where they will have nothing, they will not use Testng, they will not use JUnit. they will have everything in Excel, and they will have their own driver, they will write it. Okay, so in that case, if you're going for those kind of framework, extent report will be very much helpful. Okay, because this is not associated with any existing framework, right? So this is very much helpful in case of you are using any custom framework if you're developing with the keyword driven approach or maybe data driven approach. Basically, all the frameworks support both keyword driven and data driven, because without that we cannot do it, but two are different concept we have it. Okay, so okay, if you are done till here, let me see what else we have it. One, we have a screenshot, like how do we take the screenshot in Selenium? That is very important. Okay, so let's try to do that. So suppose here we wanted to take the screenshot when we are launching the Chrome, right? Or we can say when we are searching something here. Okay, so suppose we wanted to take the screenshot. So for this we don't need any dependency. Selenium itself provide that screenshot mechanism. Okay, so we can use the same jar, or this jar is already there with us, right? So we don't require to add anything else. So now let's see how do we take the screenshot. So for taking the screenshot, we have to use one class name, and that class name is like name of that is in Selenium, that is take a screenshot. I'll say take a screenshot. Okay, this is the class name. I'll create the object of this. I can say screen equal to. So basically we have to typecast our driver object to get the take a screenshot object. Okay, how it is, I'll just explain it. So I'll just write take a screenshot and I'll put here driver, and why we are doing it, I'll show that also in terms of Java. So take a screenshot is Selenium package, right? So it should give the option here. You can see it saying basically it's not take a screenshot, it's text a screenshot. Okay, so that's helping us here. So if I just click here, also I have to put as text a screenshot. Okay, so this is going to help us to take the screenshot. So next what we have to do, I'll say here screen dot. Okay, I'll say screen dot, and here we have the method. One method is get screenshot as. Okay, I'll say screen dot get a screenshot as, and how you wanted to take the screenshot. So I want as a file. So I'll say here output type dot file. Okay, so I want this screenshot as file. So remove this. Yeah, that's it. So if I want this as a file, I should store this in a file, right? So I'll say file, I'll say file objectives, and then it will go ahead and I'll just import this file. Okay, once we have done, the next step is we have to just copy this file wherever we want. Okay, so what I can do for copying the file, we have the function in Java. Let me do it this. So the function name that copy this, in Java we have a class like file utils. Okay, so file utils will help us to, so everything is part of Java here. So I'll say file utils dot, we have a method here called copy file that take the source file and destination file. Okay, so the source file here we will provide our file, what we are getting from the Selenium, and destination file I can say new file and create here maybe Google, Google, I'll say plus data. I want every time different file, right, for each searching, and then I'll say dot png. Okay, so whatever screenshot we are taking it, I'm saying go ahead and save in format of png. Okay, so basically this is the 3 lines of code that will help us to take the screenshot. Okay, and this you can use anywhere. Okay, once we are done here, let's go ahead and run and check whether it's working or not. So this test case again is going to run 3 times, right? And it should take 3 different screenshots. So once it has run, I'll go and refresh the project, right? And if I go at the last, you can see we have 3 different screenshots: Google Java, Google Selenium, Google Testng. That's how we have given the name, right? Google and data. Data means what we are passing as a data. So all these 3 screenshots got saved. If I just go and open, we should see the file. So you can see Google Java screenshot is this. So it will be very useful whenever our test case got failed. Okay. So whenever test case is failing, we should take the screenshot. Okay, with some random name every time, with the test case name, with the timestamp. So those are the good practice to provide the name of the screenshot. So it should not get override by the other test case or something. Okay. So this is just 3 lines of code that you have to write always if you wanted to take the screenshot. Any question from here? Any question?
So the all the outputs like the screenshot or the log or anything, everything is added to the same project. Is it how it will be, or can we move it to a separate folder or something that so we can go back?
No,
and
everything we should have on the separate folder only. Okay, you're right. So here we are just writing everything at one place, but we know how to create the function, right? Library function. So suppose this function, this set of code, I don't want to write in the test case. Definitely we should not write it. If you write, it is the wrong practice. Okay. So what we'll do, I'll cut this code from here, and we already have created one library.java, right? So I'll go here and library.java, I'll create a function. Okay. So that's a good question. I'll say public static void, and the function name I can give anything. Take a screenshot of current screen. Okay, and for taking the screenshot, we need one this take a screenshot class object. Okay, so that they will take care. Okay, let me see what are the parameter we need. So I think we need one WebDriver. So I'll paste this code here. Okay. So for taking the screenshot, we need this WebDriver. So once you write the code, you will come to know what are the parameter we need. So once WebDriver, and second we need the screenshot. String name of the screenshot. These 2 things. That's it. So now instead of writing this here, I'll just say the name. That's it. This function ready, and file utils we have to just import. Come on, file utils. Why it is failing? File utils cannot be resolved, but it was resolved here. Let's see. File utils. Do we have it here? Control.
Yeah, 20.
Line number 20, right? Oh, it's coming from org Apache Common, and this is both project, same project. Okay. Yeah, so it should come here also. So, okay, once we have done library, let's save this and try to import this package. Okay, if it is not working, we'll just go ahead and copy from here itself. Basically, it should work. It's interesting, it's not working here. org Apaches. It's both from the same project, right? The library is here. So there we are able to import, but not here. How come? Let's delete this, save this, come to this code. We have one more import issue. Let me fix this one first. The import issue is this one. Save here. Now this one. File utils. Let me write this again. So I'll say file utils dot copy file. This is strange. Read local. Change to files. Pom dot all files. Okay. Files dot copy. And we have this path target. So they are taking from path this time. We don't want path. We want input stream. So here output type is what we have. File dot. We have white class and this. Basically, this should not fit. This is very strange issue. File utils. We are looking for path, but we don't have path here. We have just file. And of we have file, right? Buffer. I can say output. Okay, some issue is here. Okay, so basically it should work. Not sure why this is not working in this one. Let me try this again. Okay, save it here, then go to the Google test. Okay, the same thing is working. Okay, so basically what we do the same thing, copy this one here, okay, and call the function from here, okay. So you don't need to write everything in the one code, okay. So this all, even for the logging, you have to write to the different place, okay. Here we'll have only the Selenium code, okay. So as part of framework, or even Selenium code will not be here, like all this locator will also come from the Excel file. So now we have learned, right, how to read from the Excel. So everything you write in the Excel and read it from there. Okay. Here we are just showing all in the as a one function. Okay. But it should be split in different parts. This file util should not fail in the other package, but I'm not sure why it is failing it. Okay. Maybe I'll fix this code and I'll send it in the group. Okay. So it should work with all the system.
Okay.
But that's a valid question. Okay, perfect question. Any other question we have it?
Can you please post this Google test Java
Yes.
file?
Yes, I'll post it. Yes, I'll post
Hey,
that.
Mrityunjay, can we plan for another session to go over Docker and rest assured and some of the other topics that we may want to recap?
Yeah, we can plan for that. That's correct. So this all everyone just practice it. I'll discuss with SAS maybe, and we'll plan for one more session where, so those sessions will be like everyone just message on the group, like what are the things they wanted to learn that we have not covered it, or whatever things you wanted, like we should give more focus. So those topic we will cover in that class. So is that fine?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, including the Docker and REST is good. So Docker and REST, Docker is like very big topic, so that we will not see everything. We'll just see what we required for Selenium. Okay. So whatever we required for Selenium, that we will see. So just in 2 minutes, if everyone has time, I just wanted to show the Docker thing here. So later you can just go ahead and install in your system. Okay.
And
So
also, Mrityunjay, what about the BDD Cucumber framework? Should we? I mean, I was mostly concerned about recapping that. I mean, we don't have to specifically go through Docker per se, or rest assured. I know those are big topics, but if
yes,
we,
so BDD also, yeah, we will cover that. So BDD, we have already covered everything concept. Only thing we are not able to run that, right? So if that issue got resolved, I'll show that in the next class. Okay, and definitely it will get resolved. We'll try it. I'll try with all the persons wherever it's working. We'll try to use that only. Okay?
Yeah, I'm also a little more interested on the BDD type.
Okay.
That was like
Sure.
little minimal information I could get.
Okay, so BDD is the hot topic, so definitely we'll cover that.
yeah,
Okay.
Mrityunjay, because last week we didn't get to cover anything like this. So and then yesterday only we just started covering it. So I just wanted to have a little bit more session on BDD.
Okay, definitely, yes, we'll do that, BDD. So definitely that issue will get resolved. I don't know why it's coming. In past, it did not came. I tried with 100 times. It worked every time. This time, it has some issues. Okay, so we'll try to fix that, and it will work in all other systems. I was surprised that it was not working in any of the system. At least I thought it will work in one system. I can show it running. So it has some issue with that. Okay. So Docker thing, I just wanted to discuss concept here of the Docker, and I'll just show you the small demo, nothing much. So you will just get the concept here. Okay. But otherwise, Docker is very big topic. So Docker, why we are using here in case of Selenium, like we have saw in case of Selenium Grid, we have to configure the grid with all the dependency like the chromedriver and other stuffs, right? So the grid will be up and running, and where we send our test case request, right? And then it run executing automatically, right, with a multiple node. Okay. So same thing, if you wanted to achieve using the Docker, what we have to do, like we have to just create the one Docker image, not even create, just download a Docker image and just execute it. Okay. So here I'm just going to show you that concept. So for that, what we do it, so let me open a terminal. Okay. And here I'll just go to, I have one folder here, Selenium Docker. Okay. And if I just ls, I have one file called Docker Compose. Okay. So Docker Compose is nothing but, if I just open this file, it has written all the stuffs like what to do. So basically this is configure for Selenium, this is configured for Selenium Hub only, or Selenium Grid you can say. So you can see Selenium Hub is configured on the port 444, and all other stuffs we have provided it. Okay. So once we do this, what next we have to do is we have to run a command here called this Docker Compose. Okay. Docker Compose up. That's it. So if you have this file ready, that is fixed, and run this Docker Compose file, okay, what it will do, it will go ahead and run the Selenium Grid in your system. You don't need to do anything else. Okay. So this is one of the big advantage of Docker. And then you can go ahead and your test case, provide this port number with localhost, and you will able to run your test. Getting. So this is one of the benefit when we use the Docker. So in my system, I think I have already running this Docker. So let me go there. Yeah, you can see the Docker is running. and the node is register on that. Okay, so this the same command I have run it, and it's running on the this system with the multiple Firefox and the Chrome option. So how we can see that? So if I just go and check the hub here, this is the my local system IP, right, that they have created. So if I just go and try to open it, it should open that URL. It is still running. Let me check. This is the hub. Node is register on this. Posting the node to the Selenium hub. I think it stopped running. Yeah. Let me do one thing. If I can do this, if I can stop this, right? And I'll just kill this process. So here nothing to do with the coding. The coding will be anyway it will be same for you. Only you have to just run this docker compose command. It will do automatically all the stuffs for us. So it will start the Selenium hub, Selenium node. It will register all the Selenium hub and node, right? And once it do that, we can just go ahead and check everything here. So let me see if it is running. Basically, it should show all the stuff here. And even it's provide a URL here that says that this default grid registry, and this is register on this port, right? So for this, if I just go to our test case, let me see if it is working or not. So if you remember, we have a function called here launch Chrome, right? And we have one function here called launch Chrome remote. So launch Chrome remote we always use in case of the grid. Okay, so whatever URL they are providing, you have to just go and add this URL here, and if you run your test case, it should work. Okay, so this is the two steps we have to do in case of if we wanted to configure the Docker with the Selenium hub. Okay, it will automatically configure for you with the multiple Chrome or Firefox. If we can change this with help of this compose file, whatever I'm showing you, compose by YAML. Okay, so I'll send this all the details steps. For this, you have to install the Docker in your system, and then you can try it out. If any issues, we'll discuss that whenever we are connecting for next class. Okay, and next class mostly we'll focus on BDD. And any other question if anyone has or wanted to focus more on any other topic.
Yeah, I do have one thing. Remember, there was an exercise to read the XPath from one of the test website that you shared.
Mm-hmm.
So I have trouble reading that XPath on multiple different items. So I wanted help on that, and we wanted to do it after the class, but we couldn't find any time.
Okay, sure. So you can post that in the website URL in the Slack group. Okay, and we'll do that in next class.
Yeah, it's the exercise website that you did after like the third week or something.
Okay, anyway, we'll discuss that in the next class. Okay, that one. So one BDD, next is this, and it's like open forum for everyone. You can just add it, your request for any of the topic that we have already discussed or any of the topic that we have not discussed in detail. We'll discuss it. Okay.
And yeah, Mrityunjay, can we also discuss a little bit more on the page object framework? I just want the next sessions to be covering the frameworks more, slightly more.
Okay, that's a very good point. That's important also. So let me add it. So POM, page object model, this is called. Okay, this is not the Maven POM. So page object model. I wanted to cover this. I don't know how it got a skip. Okay. So one is this. Next is BDD. Next is XPath for any site. Any other thing?
And then Git, I think we covered the basics, but something related to more of, I think CI, continuous, that CI concept.
So for CI concept, we have discussed this one, Jenkins,
Jenkins,
right?
right? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So Git stash, is it something different than the GitHub?
Okay, so basically we'll discuss Git more that day if you have question. So basically in the Git we have multiple command that I think we have tried add, commit, then we have done push, then we have done pull, right? And then we have done Git status, right? And then we have done Git branch, and one more thing we have that is called stash. Okay, so this will discuss. One more command is checkout. Okay, so this 6 to 7 command, if you know that, that means you will able to do day-to-day daily work with a Git. Okay, so this one, if anyone will have any question, let me know. Okay, or apart from this also, if you have any question on Git, we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Okay, so Git also will discuss that day. Any other question as of now, if you remember, or you can post later on the group.
Yeah, I just want to recap. So far the frameworks that were covered is Testng, and then did we cover JUnit?
JUnit is mostly for a developer, but it is same as Testng. We can add that also. So there also we have added the test indentation. So you will not find any difference between Testng and JUnit. So it's 99% same. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can just, so only the annotation when we are writing it here, right? Here you can see, suppose @test we have. So if I just go ahead and see, it's coming from Testng. So what I can do here, if I just go and comment this, right? And if I go on @test, it will give us the option either to use JUnit or Testng. Okay. So if I go and use the JUnit and just right click and run as, it will give you the option as JUnit. Getting? And it will run in the same way. Only thing is JUnit will not have the reporting. Testng will have the reporting. Okay.
Okay.
So both are same thing. You can do anyone. Yeah.
On projects, right? I think some of the folder structures might be different than what we have been using to write our programs, right?
Yes.
Can we cover a little bit more on the folder structure aspect of it? Like
so folder structure will be different in different project. Okay. So here when we are getting this project, right, normal Java project, when we are getting it, we have this structure, source and test, right? One more structure we saw when we are creating the Cucumber, where we have a test and the source. Okay. Somewhere we'll have all these three, like source means I'm saying main, test and resource, these three. Okay.
Actually,
yeah.
I think what I wanted to, what I mentioned was, I think in one of your folders that I saw, one file had like test base, one other a different file had some other naming, like step definition. One other file had test runner. So are these like pretty much like standard types of files that we would encounter in projects where only certain
yes, so that's the valid question. So what happened in case of Cucumber, right? So whenever we give the correct project type or arc type, when we are creating the Cucumber project, right, it will automatically create the folder, that's a standard folder according to that project type. So when we created this Cucumber project, right, we have used for Maven thing, we have used this architecture, if you remember, right? Where this is the command also. Through the Maven command also, you can create the project. The same thing we have done through the Eclipse, where we are providing this group ID and the architect ID, right? So, and the version name. So based on the data you provide here, while creating the Maven project, Maven will automatically create the standard folder structure. Okay, but we can go ahead and rename and create it in any format. That will work fine. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll discuss on this, but if you have any specific question, we'll discuss on that also, folder structure. Okay. So I'll add it here. Project folder structure, should I call this?
I think, yeah, what I referred to when I said folder structure, I think I meant to say, within the page object model, how some within the page object model, I think there'll be like files dedicated to handle WebDriver elements, and then other files dedicated to handle
Yeah, something like that. You're talking about packages, maybe. In Java, we have package concept. Okay. So the package is also like in Windows, it's folder only, but in case of Java, we call it package. So we create different package for different purpose, right? So this package we can customize based on our need. Like here they have done this runner is in as part of this package, and then feature file is as part of this package, right? So same way we can create different package for library different, right? Like that we can create it. Okay. So we'll try to discuss on this, like what are the standard way that we can create the folder and package. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Any other question from anyone?
So reading a data from a file is what we saw, right? So from the Excel file, we read the data. So reading a data from API or service call, is it something, can we quickly touch, or is it different?
No, that's a different. That will come as part of API automation. So for that, we have to cover the REST issue. Yeah, that is the different. I'll just show that couple of test case on REST issue also. Okay, so I'll try to cover that one.
And is there any scope for Appium, like for mobile automation?
APM again, like that's only the installation differ there. Okay, but rest of the code will be same what we are writing here in Selenium. Okay, so if you go for APM, right, only the installation is there different. Otherwise, if you go and you will have this code, this two line is different. Rest other all are the Selenium code only. Okay, so you can just install it, and if you know how to write the XPath and other stuffs, it will work the same way there also on the mobile.
Okay.
So you can just try it out. If you have any other question, we can connect offline and I can show you there. Okay, on APM. But the code by it will be same, only the launching will be the different there.
Sure.
It's like another browser, right? That's it, on different environment.
And
so Selenium support on mobile also. So it will be almost same. You will not have any difference in writing the code there.
Yeah, if you have any instructions on how to get that installed, can you also share that for
Okay,
APM?
sure.
Yeah.
I'll send this APM, right? Installation and sample code. I'll send this, okay? Any other question from anyone? Okay, if no, then we'll plan for this all, okay? And this is my WhatsApp number, so if you want, you can just write it. If you have any question, you can ping me, right? If you need any kinds of help or support, I will be available here on this WhatsApp, okay? It's 7845148919. And if any of your friend is also interested in training or any support, right, any work or job support also, or interview preparation, so I will be helping them, not only in terms of Java. I help and support on multiple technology like Python, C#, okay, in testing and development all. So technology wise, like it's open, so you can refer my number if you have any friend who wanted to learn. Okay, so this is my number and you already know my name. So you can write it down. Okay. So we'll plan for this all session in the next class, and there onwards we'll go. You can just practice. Today we have covered a lot of things. I will be sending all this code in the Slack group, and I want everyone to practice it. So I will have more questions for the next session. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so
That's
much.
it from my side. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
We'll connect in next class. Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.